They're alive.
We are live. Welcome to today's Helping the Brave. I'm Amy Tiemeyer, and this is my co-host Ed Parco, and we are.
All right, you want to get right to it? Bring our guests
Sure.
in.
Let's bring
Want
our
to
guest
introduce
in.
them?
Our guest today is William Branum, and he comes to us from a friend, Lisa Kipps Brown. And so tell us about you, William.
Hey, thanks for having me on here. This is, I feel like I got it here just a little bit late or just right on time. I'm not sure. But
Well, she was making fun of you because she said you're Navy. That's why you were that way. I'm Navy. And I said, normally we're early. So there had to be something else going on. So
I was working I was making sure that my mic worked. I wanted to make sure there was good audio because, with podcasts, generally, like some people watch them, but everyone listens to them. So the most important thing really is audio. And so I was just making sure that worked. And I was like, oh my gosh, get your act together. So I made it right on time. And we're live. And I didn't know we were going live like this, but this is cool.
Yeah, well, that's our whole thing, was to let vets come on, tell their story, and other vets react and tell them, because we have had some guests who went through some major stuff, and we felt that was good to have people there to support them. And that's why we do the lives, and then it goes to YouTube afterwards, and then also to a podcast. So normally what we do, William, is we ask, what service you were in and why did you pick that service?
Okay, easy. I was in the Navy. I was a Navy SEAL for 26 years. And the reason I chose to join the Navy was because nobody else had the SEAL teams. And the reason that I chose to be a SEAL team, to join the SEAL teams, is because someone told me that was the hardest military training in the world. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be part of an elite unit. I grew up in just outside of Meridian, Mississippi. It's a very small town, and there's not a whole lot down there, but there is a naval air station. My dad was in the Navy. My grandfather was in the Navy, and I swore that I would never join the Navy. They, well, number one, they had the ugliest uniforms of all branches.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
The Marine
dungarees were the worst. Yeah.
Yes. The Marine Corps has the best looking uniform, hands down. And when I was a kid watching, TV, we had 4 whole channels to choose from. The Marine Corps recruiting videos were pretty cool because they had these guys fighting dragons with swords and shields. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I thought maybe I would become a Marine Corps scout sniper recon guy. I kind of knew something about those guys, maybe an Army Ranger. But then someone told me, if you really want to challenge yourself and you want to, do hard things, then, you should become a Navy SEAL. And I was like, what's that? And the guy explained it to me. And right after that, the Navy recruiter called me. It was like he heard me talking about it. And if he would have called me probably 6 weeks earlier, I would have said, not on your life. But I said, yeah, I want to be an F-14 fighter pilot, and I want to be a Navy SEAL. He's like, check, come on down here and then watch a video. And then I pretty much signed up right away.
So did you go to OCS and all that?
No, I was an enlisted guy my entire time.
Okay. Just because you want to be a fighter pilot, so that, usually those
right. So I didn't have a degree. I have I do have a PhD. I have a public high school diploma. And, my hearing actually wasn't good enough to be a pilot. Even before I joined the Navy, my hearing was bad, and it's even worse now.
Yeah, my eyes were bad. That was before you could do, different types of surgeries and stuff.
Right.
So the worst I tell people is don't ever say you're not going to do something, because that's usually what happens. Right. I swore I'd never move back up to Northern California. I'm back up here. I'm actually in Arizona today. I'm doing this for my hotel. So after you were in the Navy, you joined. So did you do right to BUD/S, or did you have to do something for a while before you went to BUD/S?
So I did not go directly to BUD/S. I joined the Navy. Back then you had to be a Navy something. a Navy rate before you could become a SEAL. So I went to gunner's mate A school. And but first I went to boot camp. I took the SEAL screening test and I failed the push-ups. And when I look at those numbers of what you have to do to get in now, I'm like, really? I failed that? Okay. Clearly I wasn't ready. But I had more opportunities to take the screening test again while I was in A school, but I didn't. Because it was up in, the Chicago, Great Lakes area. It was cold. It was dark. I didn't want to get up and do that at that time. So when it came time to sort of pick orders at the end of gunner's mate A school, I decided to take another school for 4 more months in Virginia Beach to get in better shape and then go to BUD/S. But what I didn't know is when I took that school, I had 24 months of obligated service to that ship that was attached to that school in Yokosuka, Japan. So I go to the school. They say, yeah, that's great. You still have to go do your time. Even if you fail out of the school, you're still going to have to go to that ship in Japan. So I went to the ship. I did my time. And when it was time for me to go to my next duty station, I had passed the SEAL screening test. I did all the medical stuff. I told my command what I wanted to do. And everyone was supportive except my detailer. And my detailer said, sorry, you're too critical to the Navy. I'm glad that you want to be a SEAL. I like your motivation, but sorry. And so I got letters of recommendation. I got all sorts of stuff. And my detailer still said no. Then the chief of naval operations came to my ship in Yokosuka, Japan. And he didn't go to any other ship. He only came to my ship, and he had CNO's call. And he asked, hey, here's my vision of the Navy, the future, etc. And then, does anyone have any questions? And I raised my hand. I was the second guy he called. And I said, yeah, I joined the Navy to become a Navy SEAL, but my detailer says I'm too critical to the Navy. I think I deserve a chance to go. Well, what do you think? He turns to my commanding officer, who I had already told I was going to ask, and said, is he a good guy? And the CO says, yeah, he was sailor of the quarter this quarter. So the CNO turns back to me and he says, you'll be in the first class after your PRD. And 6 weeks later, I was off to California.
Wow.
That's the way to get things done.
For people who don't understand what a detailer is.
That's a guy that tells you, it's like an HR guy, sort of. He's the guy that tells you where you're going to go, your next duty station. I don't know what they call it in the other services, but the detailer in the Navy, he's just in charge of jobs in different locations. And so his job is to fill those billets. He's like a headhunter, but he has free people. He's not out looking for people. He just finds people and sticks them in like their next position. Are
they on each ship, or are they stationed somewhere else?
No, they're stationed somewhere else. I think back then they were in Washington, D.C., and like just a central location, and they could see all the people and all of the Navy, and then they put them where they think they need them to go.
All right. And the reason I ask these questions, I understand. I just want to make sure if someone's watching it, they don't
Sure.
And certain acronyms are going to ask you to explain just so people understand what we're talking about. Go ahead, Amy. You got a question?
So you said that you served for 26 years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So why don't you, but you don't identify as retired. You said 26 years a veteran. And I just wondered if there was a reason.
I am retired is air quotes, I guess. I don't feel like you're ever retired. You're never done.
Okay.
When I retired from the military, I say that was the hardest military mission I've ever been on. I've got, a handful of deployments here and there. I think I have 10 total deployments, and 7 of them are to combat to either Iraq or Afghanistan. And, leaving the military and becoming a civilian is still the hardest military mission I've ever been on. And from my time, either in the service or outside the service in my personal life, I picked up some baggage. And there was a lot of noise in my head. And when I retired, it was even louder. And I really had no really good self-talk. Everything that was rolling through the brain was all negative. And so what I would do is I would pretty much drink myself to sleep at night to try and turn the noise down, or at least numb the pain, numb some of what was going on. And I knew that wasn't a good thing. And eventually someone recommended, or actually I went looking for help, but I wasn't going to like ask a person for help. I was looking for help in other substances. And I found CBD as a modality that actually helped turn down the noise in my head. And it had such a positive impact on me. It wasn't like magical, like a magical pill, but it was just enough of a change in what's going on in my brain and with my body that I was able to get control of my thoughts, get control of that noise in my head, create like a new way of thinking. And I call it the get naked mindset. And so I've started a company called Naked Warrior Recovery. We sell CBD, to support veterans and first responders and anyone else who might be interested in CBD. And then we also focus on changing the way that you think about things.
Before we go further a little bit, can we talk a little bit more about your time in the service? Sorry,
Sure.
Amy, I want to go back. So
yeah, I actually wanted to go back too. So I got a little bit ahead of myself.
That's okay. Amy likes to take us everywhere. So we'll go back to so talk more about your service, what you did, the trials and tribulations, whatever you want to explain about what going through as a Navy SEAL, because did you pass BUDS the first time?
Well, that's a trick question.
Did you?
I did not complete it in the first class I started. I didn't. Okay. I never left. So I finally got to BUDS. I finally got there, and I got hurt. I learned very quickly that I was not in as good a shape as I thought I should have been, because running on sand is it's harder than it looks. Yeah, and but I got hurt just before I was classing up to the into class 205, and it was someone stepped on my leg, and there was like a little stress fracture. They thought I had compartment syndrome because I was in so much pain. And so they rolled me to the next class. No big deal. The next class, I healed up fine. I started getting better at running in the soft sand. I finally kept up on a run. And I remember this was on a Thursday. It was on a Thursday. And I was like, I got this. I'm ready to go. And I don't know what happened. We still don't know what happened to me. But I didn't get, extra training after that run, which we call the Goon Squad. I was able to keep up just enough. And then when we sat down, we stretched while the rest of the class was getting a little extra training, getting a little stronger getting, in the soft sand and in the ocean. And then when the rest of the class came back, we were over just stretching out, hanging out. When I stood up, I fell down. Like my knee just stopped working. I don't know what happened. I limped out to the ocean. I got wet and sandy. I came back, and then I went to medical the next day, and they were like, "You're probably fine, but maybe not. We don't know." And so they looked at X-rays, they did MRIs, they did all sorts of stuff, and they're like, "You look fine, but apparently you can't stand on your leg." So I went before a medical board. The first person in the medical board recommended that I be dropped from training. The second person on the medical board, at that point, I'm like crying. I tell him the story about, if I leave SEAL training, I may never get to come back, because it took the CNO, the Chief of Naval Operations, the most senior guy in the Navy, to get me here. So because of this school that I went to once upon a time. And so he left for like 2.5 hours. I'm standing there on crutches in the middle of the compound, waiting for him to come back. I've watched my class come in from the beach. They're all wet and sandy and they look terrible. But I was like, I want to be right there with those guys. I want to be absolutely miserable with them, not standing over here dry and on crutches. The second guy came back, and after he was gone about 2.5 hours, he was like, "You're still here? Go check in and you'll be in the next class. Go heal up and get ready to go." So I went, kind of in that holding unit. I did all sorts of therapy. I didn't get any better, but I got just good enough to pass enough timed events in the following class in order to go through Hell Week. And then when I went through Hell Week, something happened. I don't know what, but I healed up. Like the injury was gone. And then I finished Hell Week. limping on one leg. And then because of all that limping, I had stress fractures on the other leg. So I went back to medical and they're like, okay, yep, stress fractures, got it. We'll recommend you be rolled. I'm terrified. I'm like, I'll just keep going. I don't care. I'm terrified that I'm going to get kicked out again. And they're like, you made it through Hell Week, injured, you're good, roll, go to the next class. And then I finally eventually graduated 13 months to the day of me checking in. It's 6 months of training. It took me a short 13 months to get through.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to come off wrong when I was asking if you got through the first time. I just know how hard it is and difficult, and people get injured, and they usually, some get kicked out and some get rolled to the next class. And that's all I was asking.
Yeah.
All right. So after you joined and you finally get out of school, where did you get stationed?
I first got stationed.
Just go through your story, because I don't know what's the best part of your story. So go ahead and tell that.
I got stationed in Virginia at a little team called SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 2. We have a mini submarine. You have 2 guys in the front, a pilot and a navigator, and you put 4 guys in the back. And our primary mission was sniper work and reconnaissance. And so I did that for 5 years. And then I left and I went to teach sniper school for a year. Then I left sniper school and I went and did a desk job. I was the lead instructor at sniper school when 9/11 happened. So I don't know how I was the senior guy. I'd only been in the Navy 10 years at that point. The guy that was actually in charge was in California, working on curriculum development for to make sniper school accredited by the Navy. And so I'm the senior guy there running everything, and 9/11 happens, and I'm like, oh, I guess I should figure out what to do next. So I call back to the headquarters. I asked them what to do. They said, just continue training. We continued training, and then later on we started deploying to Afghanistan and later on Iraq. Then from there, I deployed to Afghanistan first. Then I went to SEAL Team 10. I did 4 deployments at SEAL Team 10. Then I did all sorts of cool stuff, to include one of the missions that we were assigned to do was to be the security force for the interim government of Iraq. We're basically, Secret Service dudes, just keeping, do not let those people die. And it's not a sexy job. It's really a terrible job to do. But one of the cool things that I got to experience while doing that job was I got to be in the room while they were writing and signing their constitution. So the Iraqi Constitution, I was one of only 2 Americans that got to be in the room while that was being signed. And it was interesting.
Is it like here where you get a pin?
Right. Well, they had to talk about it, and they brought in their religious leaders in to bless it and go over it and approve it and things like that. And it was also it spoke very powerfully on how much they focus on their religion going into their government. There is no separation of church and state in that, certainly in that constitution. Both Shia and Sunni. From there, I was, after I left SEAL Team 10, I went to the headquarters in Coronado, California. I did acquisition work. I, worked on body armor technology. I'd worked on sort of tactical nylon, the, tactical uniforms, helmets, eye protection, communication headsets, and things like that. And then from there, I went to SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 1 in Hawaii. And from there, we did some other cool stuff. And then after that, I retired.
There's your retired, Amy. You happy now?
Whatever.
I retired.
All right. So, and you talked about this before we went through your story, but you were talking about how there was stuff in your head when you retired. Most people, when they get out of the military, they lose their sense of purpose on top of everything else they have. Did 100%. You go through stuff like that?
100%. I was part of a badass team, a badass mission, and a badass purpose. I knew everything. I knew what I was going to do. At night when I went to bed, I knew what I was going to do the next day. I knew why I was going to do. I knew all of that. And going from, having that as a part of my life, my entire adult life for 26 years. And then the next day, it's all gone. You know, I recently have thought, like, how do I explain that to people? And I thought about the movie The Avengers, where Thanos has the glove ring thing, and like he makes like half the world's population vanish. It was kind of like that. You're having dinner with your family one night, and then the next thing, like everyone is gone. Everyone that you know, everyone that you love, gone. And like, how do I deal with that? Lose your family like overnight in a blink of an eye. And so I really struggled with that. And it took me a long time to figure out what my new mission was, what my new purpose was, and who my new team was going to be.
So, what year did you get out of the Navy?
2018.
Okay. So, just asking, was there any transition services that they had thinking that would help you, or there was just nothing because you're
the Navy?
unique?
Well, the Navy has they have like a week-long course to like help you write a resume. Maybe, you know, bring in like people talking about VA or people talking about different educational opportunities or maybe future job opportunities that you could potentially have. But there was no real like how to create a budget. It wasn't really preparing you to get out of the military. It was just sort of like, here's some things you should think about. So certainly not changing your mindset and helping you think differently about what your next mission is going to be, especially for people who are mission focused.
Now you were in, and when did you decide that you were going to transfer out? Did you do that a year out, 2 years out, or was it just something that you're like, I'm done with this today?
I was in absolute denial about getting out. I knew I was getting out. It's like they only let you stay in for so long. So at the 26-year mark, they're like, see you later. I was answering emails on my BlackBerry up until the day that I was out of the military. Still working on projects, still doing stuff, still engaged. And I was doing that. And I was like, I could keep doing this. I love doing this. I'm comfortable doing this. But maybe I should stop doing this and focus on me. And I didn't do that until after I got out. And that's the biggest, I think that's really the biggest mistake that most people make that are high performers in the military. They're like in denial about the transition out.
What would you recommend people do? Sorry, Amy, I jumped on you. While they're going through this process, you just said that it's hard to do that and they don't normally do it. We try to tell people, look at least a year out and focus on what you're going to do. Do you recommend the same thing? I mean, how do you get to somebody like you as a high performing person and say, hey, you're going to actually be out of this, you know, at this point? How do you deal with something like
I say the same thing. I tell people the same thing, but I tell them to look at it sort of like you're planning a mission. And I know that not everyone in the military does mission planning, but it's really simple. It's you figure out what you want to do or you think you want to do. You make a plan. It doesn't have to be a good plan. It just makes a plan. And then practice that plan. And when I say practice the plan, I mean like build your resume, practice interviewing, think about what you really want to do. Maybe you just want to go to school. What do you want to do after you go to school? Why are you going to school? Is there a purpose for that? Practice that plan and then execute the plan. And if you can execute it before you get out of the military, while you still have a paycheck, while you still have a little bit of a purpose, then do that. If it's a good company and they want to hire you, or maybe you want to be entrepreneurial and start your own thing, start it while you still have income and put focus on that. You're not expendable in the military. Absolutely not. You are, it was just like me. I was doing an outstanding job at the things that I was doing, but the Navy said, time for you to go. We need to bring the young blood in to do this. And so that's what they did. And so everyone is expendable. And if you're not taking care of you at some point, then no one else is going to. The Navy certainly isn't, or the Army or anyone else, because as soon as you walk out that door, they don't care anymore. So you need to start taking care of you at least a year out. It doesn't mean not do your job. It means focus on your future. Focus on what your new mission is going to be. And your mission will change. It doesn't matter how good of a plan you have. It's going to change. But at least if you have a plan, you have some sort of a guiding light that you can navigate off of.
So how long did it take you when you got out and you said, to find your mission and your new purpose?
I'm still working
especially
on it.
Without resources.
I'm still working on it. I think so. When I got out, I started a consulting company to help companies navigate the military acquisition system. And because I was pretty good at it, the last 3 years of my time, we have this system in the SEAL teams called the Operational Deficiency Report. So basically it's if there's a problem, if there's something that we may not be able to do the mission because we don't have the technology, we don't have the techniques or procedures, we don't have the whatever, maybe it's just we don't have the equipment that exists that we can buy commercially. We submit a report. This is why we can't do the mission. This is the thing we need. This is the capability we have. Maybe it's technology that doesn't even exist yet. And what I did is I took my last 3 years, I went out and found $16 million of other people's money to create technology that didn't exist, to solve those problems that we had at that specific SEAL team. And so I had a pretty good Rolodex. I had really good contacts. I could get the money. All I had to do is if you have a widget that maybe is not ready for prime time that might be able to meet some sort of operational deficiency or operational requirement, then I can connect you with a military organization to sponsor you. Therefore, and then we can find money to bring that technology up to meet the requirements of the warfighter. But what I kept running into is companies, they wanted, because I used the word consultant, they didn't trust me because they had been burned by other consultants in the past. And they were like, okay, you can sell our widget, but we're not going to pay you until you sell some. And I was like, well, that's probably not going to work for me because that requires me flying around, meeting with people, doing all these other things. And by the way, Navy retirement, military retirement for an E8 is not very much money. So my income, that was the other thing. My income went from pretty good to not a lot. And my outgo went up because now I'm paying for insurance and all sorts of other things that I never had to pay for in the past. Life insurance, different policies, different things. So it was extremely stressful. So it took me a long time. I did okay. I have a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. I was able to sell some products back to the government and be able to eat for a change. Learning that whole process was a lot of work, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be. And that's kind of where the CBD thing came in.
Very good. Well,
I'm still transitioning even. Yeah.
All right. So how did you get in? So you started using CBD, I assumed, for yourself. And is that how you got into doing the whole process with CBD? Do you guys manufacture it? Do you just get it and private label it? How do you do it right now?
Private label. Yeah. But there was a whole process to getting to that point. The process was I used it. Someone gave me a bottle. And I like to say that, water boils at 212 degrees. I was living at 210 degrees. And so it didn't take much to hit that boiling point. But taking CBD, I didn't notice anything right away. What I did notice over time is I went from 210 to 205 to 200 to 195 to 190, maybe 185. So I got out of that red zone and got into more of an orange zone. So I had a little bit better self-talk. I had a little less noise in my head. Maybe I slept a little better. I don't really know. But I did notice that my quality of life was better. And then I ran out, and then I started getting closer to that boiling point again. So I was like, maybe there's something to it. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's a placebo. I have no idea. And I tried a different brand. I had similar results. Then I was at a business conference that the same guy who gave me the bottle of CBD, he was a guest speaker. So I got to be his VIP guest. So I got to go to all the backstage events. I got to go to all the VIP events. And it was a Q&A where companies could come up on stage, talk to the guys that were hosting the event, the entrepreneurs, very successful, and answer their questions like marketing or whatever. And there was a girl that had a CBD company, and you can't market CBD on social media. It's very difficult. And so she was putting CBD into kinesiology tape, like rock tape, the K tape, for the pain relief and things like that, inflammation. And she was like, how do I market that? And I'm like, oh, she's in the CBD industry. I'm looking all over for a company really to hire me so I can learn more about CBD and help impact other people's lives. And so after the event, or after that Q&A section, I kind of stalked her and followed her. And I was like, hey, you're the CBD girl, right? And she was like, yeah, back off, weirdo. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bother you, but I'm super interested in the industry. Like, I wanted her to hire me. And she was like, so do you want to do A to B, B to B, B to C? And I'm like, I don't know what those letters mean, but I want to do CBD. Can we talk about that? And she was like, well, why don't you just start your own CBD company? And I said, I don't know how to do that. And then she leaned in and she said, you're a Navy SEAL. You can figure it out. And I was like, man, please have my man card back. And then can we talk later? And maybe you could give me a hand on like how to do this. One of the other things that happened at that event is everyone that was up on stage, it was all weekend, just speakers, a big event. Everyone was talking about what is your purpose? What's your why? Why are you doing this? And so as I went down this road of CBD, where I was finding that most of the industry is extremely dirty, the FDA has gone out and done many spot checks, and they found that, more than 70% of the products, either they don't have CBD in them, they don't have the CBD they say they have in them, they have high levels of THC, they have high levels of heavy metals, mercury, arsenic, lead, things like that, pesticides, herbicides. And if you're putting something into your body to be a medicine, you don't want to be putting a bunch of poisons in there also. So on my quest, my first mission was to find the highest quality suppliers and sell the highest quality CBD in the market. I have found the highest quality suppliers. That's who I've partnered with. I have two suppliers that I partner with. But then that wasn't good enough. Like, what's a bigger mission than just high quality CBD? And I looked at myself, and I looked at the community that I used to be a part of as myself as a veteran, and all the veterans that are behind me. And then I looked at some statistics, and statistics are that 22 veterans take their lives every single day. We've lost more veterans to suicide than we have to 20 years of sustained combat. And then I looked at my life a little bit closer. My dad is one of those veterans. My dad took his own life. So that became a very personal, very real purpose for Naked Warrior Recovery. And so our mission at Naked Warrior Recovery is 22-0. But it took me a long time to work through that process and figure out why. Of course, we all want to make some money and pay the bills. We got to eat. But, what comes first is service. I've spent my entire life in leadership positions, but I've always been of service. Now I'm still of service, trying to give back. I'm trying to help people either transition from the military, help people with a modality. That's all CBD is. It's a modality. It's not a cure-all. To help maybe turn down the noise, maybe help people with their baggage that they have, and eliminate veteran suicide.
You call it baggage, but we've been calling it PTSD. Is that what you were dealing with?
Yeah. I mean, everyone, okay. I would say everyone has it. I just call it baggage. That's
why I was saying you called it baggage. Yeah.
Some people, some of it I have from my own experiences. Some of it, and again, baggage is like, I put it in there myself. I put the crap in there myself. And other people have put it in there, from toxic relationships or whatever else. That bag, that rucksack, it gets heavy and it gets full, and we don't know how to take it off or take the crap out of it. That's just why I call it baggage. And then, sort of the get naked mindset is about, taking your ego off. That ego gets heavy Maybe we feel like we've been attacked in our life, and that's sort of that PTSD thing. And we are always wearing our armor because we feel like we're always in combat. We're always under attack. And we never, ever, ever take the armor off. In the SEAL teams, we go into harm's way. We put our armor on. Maybe it comes in handy. Maybe it doesn't other times. But in real life, and then we come back and then we take the armor off and we hit the showers and we're good to go. Get ready for the next mission. In life, we don't do that. We go into harm's way. We get attacked, armor. We go in, we get attacked again, more armor. And we're just weighed down by armor and crap. And we never take it off. And that's part of what Get Naked is about. It's about taking your ego off, take that armor off, be a little bit vulnerable, expose yourself, get naked. And that's where you're going to find true healing.
Amy, do you have anything before I ask my question?
Nope. You go for it.
So, all right. So how do people get involved with you? Like, because are you doing, besides CBD, is there counseling involved? Is this a whole organization for veterans? How is this, people have no idea what your company is. So.
There are quite a few organizations that help veterans are, working on, also eliminating this veteran suicide. I partnered with a few of them. I'm working on partnering with more, but finding the right partner is very difficult. But I know that 22-0 is a very good organization. They do some very good counseling. For veterans, they've got some really cool modalities that help with PTSD specifically. I am a board member of Centurion Military Alliance. They are an organization that comes in, talks to veterans, active duty or veterans before they get out or after they get out, and helps give them additional tools than you get from the military. Also some counseling, help with resume, help with connections, things like that. There's also the Naked Warrior Project. I sponsor some of their events, or I help sponsor some of their events to raise money to help veterans transition, to help with the prevention of veteran suicide. And I'm looking at some other organizations to sponsor with as well.
We have a comment. I'm going to throw it on the screen.
PTAs following. Or there other.
It was pretty much a statement, I guess. What's
DSM-5?
Yeah, DSM-5.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know either. I thought maybe
I'm not smart enough to know what that is.
Oh, don't even go there. You're smart enough to get your own company going. No, I mean, the most important, we want to help vets. That's the whole purpose of Helping the Brave, is talk about your transition, talk about what's going on with your life, figuring out how we can help vets. And that is getting them connected, because you're right. Too many people commit suicide as veterans a day, period. And we need to stop that. So any way we can get involved, we want to be involved. So if there's anything we can do for you, just let us know, and we want to get involved. Okay.
Right.
Awesome.
And if we have anybody reach out to us, trying to get a hold of you, we will definitely forward them on along.
Yeah. How do they get, if somebody wants to talk to you and get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
I would say let's just use social media. That's a great place to connect. Instagram is what I use the most. So if you go to Naked Warrior Recovery, that's my Instagram handle. My website is nw-recovery.com.
I'm sorry, let me go back. At Naked
Warrior Recovery.
Okay. I'm just going to make sure I type it down so I have it. Okay. Free. And if I'm spelled it wrong, deal with it. I'll fix it later. I missed something there, didn't I? Anyway, we'll get it fixed. We'll put it in the comments later, but at least we have it. It's just important for people to reach out to you. So, anyway, I'm serious. Any way we can get involved, we want to help, because I'm real big on CBD. I don't use it. I don't have it, but I mean, please don't take this wrong, but we had it for our dog, and the dog made a huge difference.
I have pet treats. Yeah.
So, and that's the thing about when we were, my wife's dog was having issues, and it was important, and we found some stuff, but it's like you said, you don't have a clue what's in this stuff because you don't know who's regulating, and we're trying to find the right stuff for that. So we need to talk after this. Okay.
Yeah. And, someone asked me once upon a time, what's the difference between your CBD and the CBD that's in the gas station? And I wish that I came up with the answer, but the guy that was standing next to me actually answered it after I explained to him sort of the processes and things. He was like, so the difference is, what's the difference between the sushi that you buy in a sushi house and the sushi that you buy in a gas station? Are you going to roll the bones with gas station sushi? Why would you roll the bones with, gas station CBD? It's kind of the same thing. Like, you don't know what's in there. And with our products, we have everything. Is every single batch of every single product is third party tested to
Yeah, like that.
We're playing musical. Yeah, I'm like, whoa, I'm getting a little dizzy over here.
Just kind of get you back so everybody can see where you are. Because later we cut this up, we'll put it on social media, and I want you so we have all three. So
all good. But every batch is tested at an independent third party lab, and then there's a QR code on every product, so you can see exactly what's in every single thing that you're putting in your body. Before we go, I don't know how much longer we got, but I wanted to talk about the Get Naked mindset. And naked is it's an acronym. This was sort of the thing that, CBD was a modality, but this was, one of the things, the mindset that I had to really develop and now I share that helped me sort of get on the road of to where I am now. And it really stands for the N. I'm looking at this thing backwards. N is to never quit. The A is accept failure. The K is kill mediocrity. The E is expose your fears, and D is do the work. And I share this with people. If you go to the website, the number 5sealsecrets.com, put your name and email in there. I have a whole it's about a 7-page PDF that I'll email you so that you can download it, print it out, read it, share it, whatever you want to do. And I've had people reach back out to me and say, this changed my life. This helped tremendously. Just changed the way that you think about things.
Say that one more time, where they need to go.
5, the number 5, seal, SEAL, secrets.com, 5sealsecrets.com.
It's like a phone number. When you leave it, you say it twice so people can write it down. So they'll say it, then they start writing it, and they're like, I forgot it. And then you say it again.
5sealsecrets.com. Yep. Maybe I should have a shirt that says 5sealsecrets.com.
Or just right underneath, Get Naked.
Right.
Oh, right there. Now, anything else you want to add? Because basically, we normally do this in 30 minutes, but when it's important, we go over. And what you have to talk about is very important. So I really appreciate you sharing today. Was there anything else you want to add before we go?
I think that's it. I appreciate you guys having me on here. I appreciate the work that you're doing also.
We're trying to get it out there, get people get involved and help vets. That's all we care about. So, Amy, anything else you want to add before we go?
Nope, just thank you. If you like what we do, definitely follow us. And I appreciate you, William, for coming on and sharing your story.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Don't go anywhere, William. Stay right there. We're just going to leave. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for being here, Amy.